Welcome to Cannabis Technologists, and today I've got a thoughtful conversation with the Director of Agricultural Innovations at a company called AgriTask, Omri Krikeb. We've broken this conversation up into bits, and for those of you that don't know, AgriTask is an Israeli-based agricultural company, and they're servicing farms internationally from Brazil, Peru, Mexico, as well as Israel. And their platform integrates a various group of data sources into a comprehensive system, which can serve all levels of management. And what it's providing is essentially this proprietary app allowing farmers to benefit from a wide range of integrated inputs, such as satellite UAV image layers and indexes, automatic climate models, digitized field data, integrated machinery, and third-party sensory data, all kinds of fancy technology. So it's a really interesting concept. Their model that's also quite unique serves both inside and outside farms. So we'll touch a bit about that. But the big things you'll take away from this interview is, one, you're going to understand the hyper-focus on data acquisition and that integration over a period of time and its value. The other big thing is the role of satellite imagery and private drones in identifying stress and what they refer to as nutritional deficiencies outside, which seems pretty unique. And then lastly, I get Omri to compare and contrast traditional crop agricultural demands against hemp and or cannabis challenges, what they learned in the traditional industry versus cannabis. So fascinating stuff. The first question I asked Omri is, being in Israel, what model did they use in addressing the stringent requirements that are enforced by IMC, which is the Israeli Medical Cannabis Licensing Regulation? What was the philosophy that got them compliant, which we understand historically is a tough thing to do?
Well, we sat with the woman who wrote the protocol and who wrote the IMC gap. And understood the needs to drill down as deep as possible. From this, the workflow was clear, and it's just like any other crop. Just we install it inside the system. Having to understand the needs and the pain points is the most important thing. So when you understand the need of retraceability, even to the capability of understanding who was the worker who passed next to this plant during his maturity in vegetative stage or in flowering stage. Who was the guy who harvested this plant? So everything is retraceable. Everything from the clone, from the mother of the clone, throughout all this process, and then we created this diploma. So it's an automatic report that takes all what happened, the history of the graduated plant or batch. By the protocol, it's a batch, and we attach to this the relevant lab tests automatically. So you get every pack from this batch gets the same diploma with all relevant measurements. So everything came from different parts we developed from many different companies or different clients. For example, even the RFID reader for identifying a batch or a mother plant. We already used it for the cotton bales in Brazil, for example, where the operations there are so huge. We really met the logistics needs over there when you have a 350,000 hectare farm.
Next, I asked Omri to touch on the types of data sources that are used to integrate with the AgriTask platform.
Okay, first of all, we take under account the human sensor. when we let him do any kind of activity measurement or test or anything he's spotting, seeing, or wants to report in any way he wants to report it. So all the humans working in the farms, all the workers get the app, and it's easy for them to report. There is no need for any more papers. It's just 1 or 2 clicks, and the information passed with the right location and attributes of data that needs. With this, we create the alarms and so on. So first of all, the human is important. For measurements which are analog, for example, there are drip irrigations that needs measurements. And you can get the sensor, which is sometimes expensive, but you can use a paper cup with a few lines on it to see if it's fakes or not. So even the paper cups, in some cases, we have been digitalizing, making a measurement in our app for the paper cup. And so you can see and randomly check your irrigation, for example, in different projects. It was with melons, this one. We go to the sensors. The sensors is a big problem. The second problem we see today in agriculture is that the systems, they don't speak with each other. So we get a farmer that have a climate, inside climate data controller. He has a weather station for the outside. He has an irrigation computer. He has maybe a tensiometers or other measurements or sensors he's using. And they don't speak with each other. So he has all these windows opening, and he jumped between these windows like a little bit of paranoia-like, and trying to understand something, memorizing one and jumping to the other. And this goes for each farm. So if you have more than one farm, then it really gets confusing. In AgriTest, we integrate them all. We accept them all. We make the system speak with each other. So you can even calibrate your own complex alarms for multiple conditions to be notified. For example, if the heat went up and the fan is off and the irrigation wasn't irrigating or certain types of climate or how to say, conditions that happening that might indicate an outburst of a disease, you can create your own alarms.
Okay.
And so these sensors are like the second type. Sensors and systems in the field, hardware, are the second type of data we integrate. And the third ones are services. If you have a climate service data, a satellite data service, or other services you get, we integrate with them as well.
Okay.
So we try to make things simple for the farmer. We ask him how he wants to consume his data, and we give it in a chewable, easy to understand way. We really believe he knows what he's doing better than us. We just need to give him the tools to see what he's doing in time, and he can optimize his doing spontaneously.
Okay, so based off of that answer, I wanted to know, how can crop-specific image analysis from satellites or your private drone, how can it be used for planning and decision-making regarding your open fields?
So when you speak about open fields, then the NDVI and the different vegetation index, satellite drones, satellite images and drone images for better resolution are super highly relevant to know stress, to know nutritional deficiencies. So this is a good monitoring tool, even used in our project we do for agriculture insurance companies, which take thousands of growers together, each one, specific with his contract and all the data and so on. But they can monitor the crop when you know the planting date and you know the day, the degree days, then you know the phenological stage, then you know the phenological stage, and you have a relevant NDVI pitch image, then you can see if it's in vegetative stage, if you can see good nutrition, good plants, healthy plants, green picture, you know, we're going to be good this year. And if you see something that's yellow or reddish, then we're going to have a drought or a problem. So there's a lot of things to utilize this, especially if you have drones with thermal cameras for outcrops, outdoors, growing outdoor, excuse me, for outdoors growing. You can use drones with thermal cameras. They're good indicates for stress of the water. So when you go outdoors, things are super relevant in high resolution.
Okay.
Not only I see you're quiet, so I will keep something. I will throw. I will put. I will. How they say? I will put the glove for someone else to pick it up. In my master's, I was doing a lot of work with these hyperspectral cameras, and I really think with a good calibration, you might be able to calibrate the camera to give you the frequencies for the amount of THC or other material, plant material available that will indicate the ripeness or readiness for harvest. And I think this could be a really relevant tool these days with drones or even with cellular cameras. When you get to these levels, maybe you can get to the ripeness according to a different frequency bending.
Okay. One of the things, this is a new management system that we're talking about, but AgriTask is not new to agriculture. You guys have been growing, you've been very successful with a model for soybeans, for coffee, cotton, vegetables, all kinds of things. And I'm just curious, what have you guys learned in that kind of farming that has given you an advantage now bringing into cannabis? What experience have you taken from, you know, oh, sorry, go ahead, Omri.
I would say that that knowing that each farmer is different and each farmer needs his own pain points and needs, even if they grow the same thing in their next door farms. And they have pain points in different places. Yes, you will be super surprised that we have cases, for example, of a eucalyptus grower, yes, and he has a small garden of 600,000 hectares of eucalyptus. It means double times Israel, even if we grow on the walls of the buildings. So he got this eucalyptus country. And he's worried about how the piles are arranged, if there is a burnt tree, or how the roads to get to the pile, because he got this huge truck to collect this wood and the roads are being washed by the rain. Now, his next door neighbor, this is a big scale, 600,000. I have the same eucalyptus property, a little bit less big. He had like about 150,000 hectares. And he's worried about the distance between the trees, how they grew, how much fertilization they get, if they spread the fertilization already, and how much fertilizer they steal from the warehouse to the factory. So yes, in 10 years from now, they will have the same needs and quite the same systems. Because every year they ask for more things, because they solve one pain point and they have the next one. So you go from one bottleneck to the next bottleneck. So they optimize themselves. So yes, in 10 years they will have the same measurements, I guess. But now each one is certain that his way and his needs are more important. And if we are not patient and able to accept and get this farmer as he is, with his local wisdom then we're not able to support farmers. And all these changes and measurements and new small differences and big differences led us to have so many tools and flexibility that seeing the demands from the cannabis market by our technical teams, they look at it and they say, okay, we can do it.
Lastly, we talked about what Agritest is aiming for in the future and what kinds of things can we expect to see from them.
We're certainly looking for the right partner to enter the U.S. market. There are many countries that are considering and asking for regulating tools. So the worldwide is a good, future to see, a good horizon to look at. I heard that only today or yesterday, Liechtenstein gave legalized medical cannabis use, and so there's a lot of things to do. We hope to help the farmers join the slow revolution of digitalizing the farm. So in a few years, I hope we will have more farmers that are improving, are saving on tests, are reacting in time, are doing what they want in the way they want to, though everything is being digitalized and optimized and tweaked. And look, it's a huge playground. I think we're going to have fun.
I appreciated Omri's reflection, and we're looking forward to seeing how Agritast's platform emerges over time. If you want to learn more, visit www.agritask.com. That's agritask.com. Hope you enjoyed the interview. See you next time.